What's going on, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday morning to the Aussies and a lovely, lovely Thursday afternoon to everyone else that's coming in to watch this podcast and joining us live. So, thanks very much for coming in and joining us this morning, guys. So make sure you say hello in the comments. Wait for it. Terry Holden here in the comments. First one in usually. So, hey, Maddie, here we go, mate. Yep, there we go. Second Tez. Good work, brother. Good work. How are you, boys? Good to see you in here, team. So we got Matty boy. How are you, my man? Love your consistency, brother. Love your consistency. We got Tezza in here. Good morning, legend. Now, who is this? Happy birthday, Big Dog. I love Big Dog, but hit that restream link above. I think I put it there. Maybe I didn't put it there, so I can't actually see who you are. So that's no fun. Guys, we're going to be starting this episode in 2 minutes. Hey, Weeksy, how are you, brother? Good to see you in here, my dude. This is going to be a big podcast, particularly to all of those of you that are 40 or above or approaching it pretty soon. So we're going to unleash some fire this morning and get stuck right into it. So, guys, to those of you that are in Australia, what happened? What happened midweek? We got absolutely blasted off the park, didn't we? In the footy, in the state of origin. Congratulations, Queensland. We're not going to say any more than that. And to all you fake Queenslanders, and there's so many of you, either Kiwis or people that actually are born in New South Wales and go for Queensland, man up, guys. Come on, support your team. So, guys, we're going to start this episode in 1 minute, and we are ready to rock and roll. Let's see who else is in here. We've got Christopher Lewis. How are you, my dude? So supportive, Chris. How are you, brother? Benny Richardson. Good morning, my man. Your profile photo is rather lovely, Benny. I'm guessing that's your beautiful bride in your photo, mate. Nikki Friend, how are you, legend? Good to see you in here. We've got some Facebook users in here that need to click restream. Good morning, mate. Click restream. Linda, how are you, girl? Love having you in here, Linda. Kiara, what's going on? Good to see you in here. Look at all this crew in here. So nice. Wishing the wishes. It's so nice. Hey, Travie boy. How are you, bro? Wendy's in here. Jen's in here. Cause is in here. Jez is in here. God, all the crew. Look at this. Happy 21st. Yeah, that's more like it, brother. More like it, sister. Matty Ball, how are you, legend? All right, guys, I think we are ready to get this started with 20 people coming in live. This is nice, isn't it? Feels like I've got some great company for my birthday. So, guys, let's do it. Let's get stuck into a big podcast episode. Yeah, come in when you can, Jackie. All good. So let's go, guys. Good morning, Jody. How are you? On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and the unsustainable workout programs. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking turning 40. So thank you to everyone who has already wished me happy birthday. It's so bloody nice to kind of, it's a really nice feeling on your birthday, isn't it, right? So you kind of get reminded of people that care about you, and it's just a really nice feeling. Even if it's only like a token happy birthday, it just feels good. So thank you so much for the well wishes. It's kind of weird when you live away from your home country because it's the 10th of June over for you guys, but for me, it's still the 9th of June. So I don't know which one I should celebrate. I think being an Aussie, I should celebrate today, right? So guys, thanks for coming in on this birthday edition. There's a couple of things that I wanted to do in this episode. And it's going to be a big episode, okay? And I'm going to talk straight about this. I want to give you my, I guess, how it feels turning 40 physically, okay? That's the first part. And the second part, I think, I want to give you my mindset on turning 40. So just let me know, and I will celebrate both, Chris, 100%. Let me know in the comments, how old are you? Let me know in the comments. And if you are listening to the podcast on replay later on, just give me a silent yell out of your age. I do want to know in the comments from the live audience, how old are you guys? Because I want to know, before we really crack into this podcast, how many of you are feeling the same things that I'm feeling and what's predictable for you. So we've got 38, 39, 58, 45, 50, 53, 47. I love it. 19. I hate you, Kiara. 50 for Tez. Okay, so that's our audience. Okay, perfect. This being Mastermind Month, it makes perfect sense to talk about the mindset of aging. My partner Cordia and I we went out for breakfast this morning. We were enjoying some kind of really nice time before Ocean's baby brother comes along at the end of July. Hopefully, no earlier, no sooner. And it's crazy when you think about what's about to happen, being thrust back into that kind of sleepless nights, shitty nappies, incredible love, and then gratitude and more shitty nappies that's coming. And Cords and I are pretty good, communicators with each other in our relationship. And she asked me this morning, she said, how does it feel to actually turn 40? I kind of thought about it for a minute, and it wasn't until she asked me that I actually thought about it. The truth is, for me, it's not really a big deal. But I know for a lot of guys particularly, and maybe the case with girls, and I just don't know about it, but guys particularly, I know that turning 40 is a catalyst for a lot of things. Cordia is insistent on this being a big kind of landmark thing. This is a big deal, Jace. So many guys, reach 40 and either give up and have a midlife crisis and start to panic. For me, physically, and I honestly feel this, I feel like I'm about 28 or 29. That's how it feels. I feel strong, I feel healthy, and I'm engaged in life. And I don't want this podcast to be self-endorsing. I just want it to be truthful and just tell you how I feel. I feel like I'm fucking relentless. I'm just constant. And in fact, I think when men are really out of shape, it's the one thing that they wish for. And I guess it's the same for women, but I can't comment firsthand about women. It's not about a six-pack. It's not about squatting 100 kilos. It's to have the energy to both handle the demands and tackle life. I mean, let's face it, guys. Life can be super stressful when you're in the thick of it. And if you don't have the energy and the vitality to keep up and keep grinding, it's pretty hard to get ahead. And I see lots of things like, for example, the current inflation rate and interest rates and all that talk. And you start to buy into that stuff and you don't have energy and vitality on your side. Holy shit, you're in trouble. In contrast, I'm the opposite. I've got to make myself go to bed, to be honest. I've got to make myself go to bed because I feel like I could just keep grinding. But I know that not sleeping is not a very good thing. Today, I hit 271 days straight of 10,000 steps. That's a physical commitment to do. Today, I squatted 2.5 plates. I'll do a full day of work. We'll do the podcast. We'll go to the Q&A. We'll do some live coaching. Then we'll do a bunch of prep for the workshop tomorrow. And we'll pick up our daughter. We'll play with our daughter for a few hours, get back to work tonight, and do it all over again on repeat. That requires energy. I've conditioned myself to fucking love the process. And without the process of grind and growth, I feel personally lost. Now, I have this weird contradicting mindset when it comes to getting old. I'm very aware that the nature of the human body is that it decays. Factually, it decays. Eventually, it starts to fail us. And whether that's at 40 or 60 or 80 or 110, it eventually starts to fail us. As much as I'd like to think differently, we're not immortal, right? There's a reality to getting older. But the moment that I admit to getting old, I feel like it's the beginning of the decline. The moment that I accept that I can't do things anymore, it's going to massively impact my quality of life and sense of self-belief. So whilst there might be a truth to aging, I'd rather push back on it and not accept it based on one premise. One premise. This is the premise. How relevant is the number of laps around the sun that me or you, for that matter, have done? How relevant is that to how we approach life? It's fucking irrelevant. is actually irrelevant. Let's pretend we are all cars, okay? If you got the newest of new cars, super expensive car, but you treat it like shit, you drive it hard, you don't service it, you fill it with crap petrol, it will devalue very quickly and its market value will be nothing in 10 years. Would you agree? Yet if I buy a secondhand car that has some clicks on the odometer, but has been taken care of, gets filled with high-grade petrol, it's not driven hard, and gets regular services, it'll hold its value. I think that's a really good analogy for life. If you're living life hard, and I don't mean hard in a positive sense, but if you're drugs and alcohol and like it's just really hard, you're devaluing your car very quickly. And there's a payoff in this whole thing, guys. Like, I enjoy plenty of indulgence too. I think of my health more like a bank account where the more that I deposit into it, well, the more ability that I have to withdraw from it. The purpose of life isn't to live the longest, right? No one gets a prize for living to 110. For example, there's been plenty of documented studies that show that if you heavily restrict calories over the long term, and obviously this is in rats studies, that if you heavily restrict calories over the long term, you can substantially prolong your life expectancy. But that's not how I want to live. I want to be strong. I want to have muscle. I want to have good composition. I want to be able to enjoy food and have a beer, take my shirt off at the beach, have sex without feeling self-conscious. How do you want to live your life? And it might be very different to me. And so there's a bit of a payoff there between the withdrawals and the deposits. It's not about just deleting all of the withdrawals in your life and only being healthy. That's not a way to live that's going to be quality. One thing I do want to focus on right now is this idea that it's too late for you. And the average age of this podcast by the people that were listening, I think, was about 40 or 45. And so this idea that it's kind of too late for you to turn it round. Last year at the start of summer, I think it was, we had a group of friends come over for a pool party. We've got a pool in the backyard here. And one of them said in passing, "So Jace, when are you going to succumb to dad bod? When's that happening?" And he sort of said it almost as if it was like a rite of passage. The idea that nothing can be done to prevent it. Almost as if dad bod is like terminal cancer. Once you've got it at a certain age, that's it. The truth is, that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm going to say something kind of controversial here, okay? And the kind person in me wants to apologize for saying it, but I'm not going to because I think we've got to look at the truth. Our bodies are a reflection of two things: how we think and what we prioritize. I'm going to say that 2 times. Our bodies are a reflection of 2 things: how we think and what we prioritize. Hear me out. So if you believe in the idea that getting out of shape is just par of the course, well, then you're buying into an idea, right? Oh yeah, you get old and you get fat. That's what happens. If you believe that it's impossible to recover your health after having a baby, that's you buying into an idea. Now, like, I'm putting a whole lot of caution around that statement because I see the devastation that can happen to a woman's body with pregnancy. This is more a mindset that if you accept that there's nothing you can do about it, well, then you're buying into an idea. If you believe your circumstances are as they are, that's because you've got a fixed mindset. And I'm not being critical, I'm being factual. I was in that situation for probably 10 years. My situation is what it is. I can't change it. And the only time I actually started to change was when I was in so much fucking pain on a day-to-day basis of being the same. This is why I love sharing before and after photos. If a man or a woman is in so much pain that they use that pain to leverage change and they work their asses off. We should celebrate that. We shouldn't hide from that. That's hard work illustrated. It's straight there. It's hard work illustrated. Why should we not celebrate those things? In James Clear's amazing book, by the way, if you haven't read this book, you've got to read it. It's called Atomic Habits. He says the following statement: your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. And then he gives some examples. He says, your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits. Your weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. Your knowledge is a lagging measure of your learning habits. What you repeat is what you get. And that's so damn true. But what it also means is that although you might be coming around to the idea of becoming healthy later in life than Joe Blogs around here, you might be starting later. Guys like Terry, or guys like Nick Friend, or guys like Alan Williams, or all of the lady examples like Jules Robertson, Jen Lovegrove, right? If you give time for results to produce, you will start winning. But you got to make a decision. Most people get started okay, but because outcomes like fat loss are a lagging measure of our habits, like eating well and exercising, those results take time to produce. And so many people give up in that period of time where the results are coming, they just haven't come yet because results are a lagging measure of your habits. There's something called a gestational period that happens between when you do the thing and you get the result. You wouldn't, for example, pot a strawberry plant in your backyard and then get pissed off when you go back there tomorrow morning and you don't see 100 strawberries fruiting. Like, you wouldn't get pissed off with that. Why do we get pissed off when we put in a hard work for a week, and then we say, oh, it doesn't work. I haven't lost any weight. Like, everything now, like, you have to understand, is a shit test. This phrase, shit test, was coined by a guy named Neil Strauss, who wrote the book The Game. Who's read The Game? In The Game, he talks about how women put men through shit tests to test if they're the real deal. I want to go back to all you guys. I want to go back to your early teens and 20s perhaps. If every woman you met gave you sex on the first date, would you value sex anymore? Well, if you lost all of the weight that you wanted to lose in the first 3 weeks, what value would having a healthy, energetic, happy weight actually be if everyone could achieve it so cheaply? It would have no value. When I think about turning 40, the immediate thing I actually think about is I'm going to be 50 in a decade. That's what I actually think about, if I'm being completely honest. And the flow-on thoughts that come for that are, I don't want to put any fucking time into people or things that don't make me happy or move me forward. I'm going to say that again. I don't want to put any time into people or things that don't make me happy or move me forward. The physical part of life, guys, is so short. And it's only when you start to think about death do you think about how irrelevant all of the shit that you get caught up about worrying day to day actually is. Think about how much you spend time worrying about failing, what people think of you, and then ask yourself, would that person even be at my fucking funeral? Well, why should we tiptoe around playing it safe, trying not to fail, trying not to get hurt, when on the other side of that pain and hurt and failure lies this freedom and abundance? And you can almost touch it if you're clear enough in what you want. The idea of like turning 40 and then 50 makes me urgent around two things. Experiencing all the things that I want to experience, including deeper levels of love with my wife and my daughter and soon to be son. That's so cool to say that. And my friends and family. The depth of love and experience to me is everything. And the second thing that it makes me urgent about is working hard to create a legacy that will outlast me and contribute to future generations. To be really honest, like the level that I am playing at now is so much higher than it was 3 years ago, but it's so far from where I want to go. I want to be remembered as a bloke that like helped inspire people to change their lives, which then become a catalyst for that person then changing the lives of their kids and future generations. Like, that's not coming from an ego perspective. That's coming from a, like, what mark do I want to leave on the world? And I think that's a great question for you to ask yourself. If you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s or you're whatever age you are, like, what do you want to be remembered for? And I don't mean from an egotistical point of view. Some guys will say, I don't really care what I'm remembered for. And that's cool. But if you have an identity that you want to create, then if you lack an identity that you want to create, is that contributing to the problem of not getting where you want to go? If you don't really know what you want? I guess in wrapping up this podcast, guys, I wanted to share a thought that I had about parenting. And I'm relatively new to parenting, 2 years to be exact. I think most parents realize that kids are sponges, and most of the things that they do are copies of what they see, not what they say, not what we say. I heard a phrase the other day, which is kids get caught, not taught. Kids get caught, not taught. They get caught in what is happening rather than what is taught to them. And there's plenty of evidence that shows that by the time a kid is 6 or 7 years old, their subconscious program is fully formed, right? So everything that controls their habits and the behaviors, that's fully formed. It's one of the reasons that Cords and I kind of, apart from liking it ourselves, we travel so much because we actually think that's a better way to educate Ocean than daycare or school. Because we are aware of this program forming, when they are sort of every day, every night, every second night, we'll take Ocean and we'll stand her up in front of the mirror. And Cords is really good at doing this. And she'll say, I am brave. I am beautiful. I can do anything. I am beautiful. I am brave. I can do anything. And just repeats it a couple of times in the mirror while Ocean looks at herself. Now, let's say that your child starts to reach an age where they are starting to question what they've learned because things get caught, not taught. What happens when they reach the point where they start asking, if mum and dad keep telling me I can be anything, but they seem to have given up on themselves because they're too old, like, what's actually true? Remember, kids model what they see, not what they want to hear. For me, about to become a dad for the second time at 40 years old, I'm very aware that when I turn 50, my little boy's going to be 10. And if I accept aging as this gradual decline rather than a chance to grow and express, then, you know, my ability to impact upon his life is going to be diminished. The point of this podcast is super simple, guys. It's super simple. I'm trying to play devil's advocate to the thinking that getting older means you're old. It doesn't. Being old, in my opinion, would be better defined by saying the statement, giving up. I'm old. I'm giving up. And so the question I would leave you with on this is, are you ready to give up? Are you ready to just start putting your foot in one fucking foot in the grave and saying, all right, I'll just gradually accept that that's kind of the way it goes? And it, like, especially when an alternative view is available to you, you've just got to have the awareness to realize it's there and the courage to step into your power and wade through shit and grind that is gonna happen, but continue to push, knowing that right behind your efforts and your habits is where the lagging outcomes start to come through. I think this is a motto for living life. Guys, I'm going to love you and leave you there. Hopefully this podcast hits you smack between and makes you think about the way you're carrying yourself in front of the kids and today, and making sure that you get your head up high and be proud of the fact that you're 40, 50, 60 or above, or you're turning that age. 40 is the new 28. I'll see you guys in the next episode.